Good morning on the West Coast, good afternoon on the East Coast, and welcome here to Pole Day qualifying for this afternoon's fifth race of 10 in the second season of the Black Mesa Truck Series. Getting ready for Pole Day qualifying to see who will start on the pole for this afternoon's race. You will see that at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, it's noon Eastern, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, and our first driver out on the track is Dave James in the number 81 machine. Our last race, that was 2 weeks ago. Dave James gained 5 spots up to 12th position in the points. So we'll see how she will do in this series. As we have 4 interlopers, of course, the all-star drivers will be running the rest of the season here in the truck series. So we'll see how that will go. And this was our 5th race of the season. Now that we're at the midway point of this race, we're going to see what this is going to mean for points going into who could be a contender and who could be a pretender, if you ask me. 15 minutes we're on the clock as these drivers are qualifying to see who will start on the pole for this afternoon's race here at the Auto Club Speedway. Michael Brown put up a 59.235. Of course, that was because his time was behind the start-finish line, so he's already begun his first official up-to-speed lap. Same with several other drivers. First lap is a 41.365 for Dave James. And that time just got beaten. Well, didn't get beaten. Grace Takayama making her second start in this series. Had a good result in her first start of the year. We'll see how she will do this season here, or this race. Lauren Grubias, after making a hero of herself at Las Vegas, Rackley War has brought out the 25 to run this race, and there's her teammate, Sean Art. And Senor Sean is on the clock. So Sean's going to be getting some drafting help from Lauren Grubias. Grubias has announced today she's going bush racing in Season 2. Going to be excited to see her run. She will be driving the number 1, as she will be locked in the show based off the 1's owner points in the Bush Series, so very happy for her. There's Senor Sean. He will be driving the 7 Robbie Gordon Motorsports entry in the Winston Cup Series in Season 2. There's Dylan Ibrahimian, David Heller, Carmen Alejandro, Nathan Orman, the hometown kid, as he's not far away from Auto Club Speedway, right behind Maria Steiner. Ormy had a good result last time out at Phoenix. Jumped up 10 spots to 24th position in the points. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come for the Safe Light Toyota. There's Santi Messi, Samad Ozkin, Jesse Art, Eric Sadler, Ellie Rose, Skylar Taylor. As I'm recording this in IRL term, the regular driver of the real trucks in IRL Truck Series, Caden Honeycutt, got released for questionable reasons, which I questioned the Nice Motorsports deal, but that's Nice Motorsports at its best. As there's Ellie Rose, Daniel Gitteroth, Matt Boyle, Mitchell Hodak making his second start, Shane Lake's on pit road. Here's a driver we need to discuss, Callie Burke. She has been placed on probation for the incident that happened after last time out's race at Phoenix. It is going to be a 3-race probation, so Callie Burke needs to be on her best behavior this weekend. There's Bora Park. There's Futaba. Okay, hold on, before I butcher it up. Sakura. There we go. Sorry, I almost butchered it up, but I corrected myself. Sakura fell to, or no, she gained a spot to sixth in the points table in the Raising Cane's Toyota. Michael Brown, Carlos Rodriguez in the number 18 and 88. Yeah, Carlos Rodriguez was very angry, and he did apologize to Nathan Orman, but you can definitely tell the frustration from Carlos Rodriguez. By the way, I should mention both Carlos Rodriguez and um, so I'm actually going to look here. Both Carlos Rodriguez and Michael Brown were recently eliminated from the playoffs in the Craftsman Truck Series. They did not get a win to advance into the playoffs, so they have been eliminated. Kiefer Quimby, there's Evelyn Gray, Dylan James, Brian James. Huh, that's interesting. Cody Smart. Of course, he's on probation for the rest of the season. There's Mohammed Zain, Christian Williams. There's Sarah Thomas. Ingrid Pollard, who just recently got eliminated from making the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs, just been too inconsistent. She had to win to get into the playoffs. Unfortunately, did not do that. And despite finishing 10th in the points in the final in the regular season, she dropped. She is now going to be 14th in the points. Michael Brown 11th, Carlos Rodriguez 19th. So those two drivers unfortunately did not make the playoffs. They are going to have to just try to find victory lane as many times as possible. Here's the heartbreaker, I think, out of those drivers who we've been talking about the last several weeks. Courtney Lynn making her second start. Courtney Lynn has probably had the most heartbreaker out of the drivers we just mentioned about the Craftsman Truck Series, the Busch, and the Winston Cup Series. Courtney Lynn made it back in the top 30 in points. The problem was she wasn't high enough in points to have that win count for a spot into the playoffs, was too inconsistent, and she is now recently, she was another driver who recently got eliminated from making it in the playoffs despite making the top 30 in points, which I do not even recall if I've ever had a series where a driver who got in the top 30 in the points. Actually, I think in the Monster Energy series, I've recalled that series where we had a lot of drivers who got a win but weren't high enough in points to have their wins, or didn't get multiple wins to have it count for a playoff berth. And Courtney Lynn added her name to the list. So Courtney, very disappointed. She what she told me is she definitely let Nathan Orman down, and she really felt guilty about it. But knowing Nathan Orman, he comforted her and all that. So Courtney Lynn, despite a win, it's not over for Courtney Lynn. You know, she can go out here, have some fun here this weekend. She can try to go get her second win of the year, get herself locked in the All Star race. So, but it is a tough break for Courtney Lynn, who just recently got eliminated from making it in the playoffs, despite the fact she got in the top 30 in points, but wasn't high enough to have it count for a playoff berth. So, tough break for her. She'll definitely try to go out and get some wins. There's Anna Steiner in the 9, Skylar Taylor in the 45, Helga Gunnarsson, Quinton Moore, Sophia Woodward, who's been on a bit of a free fall the last couple of weeks. Speaking of Skylar Taylor, she's currently our fastest lady. Or no, that's Brian James. I'm sorry. Brian James is the fastest driver on the track. Cody Smart alongside. So Brian James, who started the first three races at the rear of the field, he's gotten his qualifying effort together for that number 42. Futaba Sakura, or hold on, make sure I said it right before I derp. Futaba Sakura. Okay, I said it right. Yay! Thank you. There's Molly Laurel Molly Laurel in the 4. So I will go back to the points standings from the previous race. Laurel is 7th in points. Christian Williams, despite losing the points lead to Cody Smart, he's still the rookie points leader over Mohamed Zain, Santi Messi, Futaba, Sakura, Molly Laurel, David Heller, Bora Park, Dylan Ibrahimian, as far as the Rookie of the Year standings is concerned. But the 5 has got their work cut out for them. Down to 4 minutes to go in the session. Helga Gunnarsson's going to be in the Craftsman Truck Series in Season 2. Of course, if you have already missed the announcements, we're looking at Jacob Foster, who had a disappointing day, finished dead last at Phoenix 2 weeks ago. Dropped him 2 spots down to 37th in the points. If you missed the announcement I talked about 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, I announced that the Oreo Cup Series will not be back for 2026. It's because of my laptop having space issues. So, yeah. So 2025 will be the last season for the Oreo Cup Series. But I've already announced that the Craftsman Trucks Busch and Winston Cup Series will fill up that void. So that is good news there. As Jacob Foster is going to come to Parrot Road, looks like something's not right on his Toyota for Tricon Garage. There's Maria Steiner. Steiner is going to go truck race or Busch racing next season. There's Summit Oskin. Of course, in IRL truck news, this is the first time, of course, this is the first season for Henderson Motorsports since the passing of their owner. And we got news today from Debbie Henderson that they will continue to operate for Summit Oskin. So that is good news there. Of course, the 75 in real life should have won Daytona if they didn't get disqualified. Mitchell Hodak in the 97. I'll tell you, forgot to tell you where Courtney Lynn came in to finish the regular season in the Winston Cup Series. Now it's been 2 weeks since the race happened. The insulting part for Courtney Lynn, she was in that critical 30th in the standings. Did not make the playoffs. Which, yes, she got back in the top 30 in points. This is the part that's going to hurt. She missed the playoffs by 8 points. 8 points. She would needed to finish ahead of Kevin Joseph by 8 spots. Or more than that. And she didn't do it. That was probably the closest we would have determined the 16 drivers that made it in the Winston Cup chase for the championship. Can you believe that? 8 spots. 8 points short of making the playoffs. She would have had to get a second win to make it in. She was, like I said, one of those drivers that were in a must-win situation. So she missed the playoffs by less than 10 points. That's pretty close. Have 18 winners, all inside the top 30 in points. And 2 of them got eliminated despite being in the top 30 in points, which that's a first for me. As Brian James will finally capture the pole unofficially. I do not recall we've ever had a playoff system where the final playoff spot was determined by less than 8 points or less than 10 points. Of course, the red and black flags are out, meaning this session is done. And Brian James, who qualified poorly in the first 3 races of this season, qualified good at Phoenix, will now earn the pole, his first pole of the season, believe it or not. And we'll see if good starting track position will be a good thing when we get ready for this afternoon's race here at Auto Club. As we're going to pull up your starting lineup for this afternoon's race. As the session is done. So Brian James will start on the pole. Oh no, he put up a 39 and that number. Oh no, there comes the frying pan, which is a ding. Cody Smart will start on the outside of the front row for this afternoon's race. Anna Steiner, Santi Messi, row number 2, or Santi Messi, I think it's Santi. Carmen Alejandro, Sophia Woodward, Aspire, row 3. Jesse Art, who outqualified Sean, fair play to her. At Mark Games, row number 4, Shane Lake, Dylan James will complete the top 10 as they will make up row number 5. At least Sean wasn't too far from Jesse, so that's good. Saman Oskin and his teammate Dylan Ibrahimian will start in row 6. Daniel Gitteroth and Sean Art, row 7. Nathan Orman next to his good buddy Carlos Rodriguez. Hopefully Carlos cooled off his temper a little bit after what happened 2 weeks ago at Phoenix. Look through the rest of the qualifying results. This is where it gets a little interesting, as I'm actually going to go back to the points. And let's see, a lot of drivers really starting at the rear of the field. Oh yeah, Cody Smart, by the way, is starting on the front row. The points leader is the 19 of Christian Williams, 22nd. And down at the bottom, which I don't know if Jacob Foster's noticed this, but I've been watching the walkthrough about Futaba Sakura. I think it was the last couple of weeks. And Futaba is going to have her work cut out starting at the rear of the field. But you can pass on this track. You can go from the back to the front. You can treat this like maybe Daytona, Talladega, or our sister track at Michigan. So if I'm the 5, the 7, the 98, 97 who didn't qualify that well, a lot of Tricon Garage cars are going to start at the rear of the field. But you can pass here at Auto Club, so that's the good thing about this racetrack. Hope you guys enjoyed this qualifying session. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the World Racing Association crew today. We showed your starting lineup for this afternoon's race. We'll be back here we're going to do 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. Give these drivers a chance to have some lunch together. And we will see you guys then for that. Until then, I'm Dean DeVoe signing off. We'll talk to you 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as our Auto Club weekend continues on the Blue Hedgehog TV, the greatest racing since 2013.